But yeah, last night I think it was like -12, and now it's 2 degrees. But in
Oh,
a
wow.
couple days it'll be 50 and sunny again. That's the nice thing about Denver is we'll get like a shit ton of snow, and then the next day it'll be like 40 degrees and sunny. So you're out there shoveling like in your t-shirt and
Wow.
yeah. No, I like it here a lot.
Yeah. I just love how Jace and I look like we have giant heads, and Andrew looks like a Muppet.
Yeah, but I actually have
Right.
the smallest head of all. The biggest head of all, I mean, in real life, I think, probably. Actually, no, I think Jason has a bigger head than me.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't done any phrenology or anything.
I know. That version of the podcast, sadly, was banned by Spotify pretty quickly.
It didn't test well. Phrenology today. I'm feeling a lot of criminal behavior.
Here's the thing. Look, on the one hand, has phrenology been discredited? Yes. On the other hand, have I spent arguably too much money on calipers, and at this point I need to do something to break even here?
Right.
Also, yes. But like I said, phrenology today, canceled, until we get a Patreon, maybe. This is Underworld News Tonight, where we talk about the weird, wacky, and wild news of the week. I am Andrew Michaels. I am joined, as always, by my co-host. You probably know him for his role in the Beaver Creek High School 1991 production of Our Town, Jason Strong.
Yeah.
And I told you guys, January is the month of guests. We don't announce them beforehand anymore because they bail once I do. We have a guest for you today. Frankly, he is old and stable, so he's not going to bail on us. Scott Curtis, host of Pot Around and Find Out.
Bit of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, is it too late to bail now, or
I ask myself that every time.
Oh man.
I've got a joke. I've got a joke that I did last night about podcasting, and it goes to the fact that one of the worst things you can have your friend tell you is they started a podcast. It's like it's right below saying that they're going blind, and then podcast and most friends say, hey, our podcast is about everything. We talk about everything, and it's 2.5 hours of belching and farting, and what should we talk about next? So
you gotta
we're a little more developed. We have a little bit more of a coherent
concept.
Takes
a lot. You gotta get up real early in the morning to put in the type of high level prep, dedication, physical, mental devotion that it takes for this show.
Yeah, you made sure everything was plugged in.
I did.
That's great.
I was thinking about this the other day because I was talking to someone I used to do theater with in high school. Where like the one thing, because like this is kind of the closest thing I do, this and stand up, and it's the one thing you feel bad about is when you do theater, especially in the 2010s, where they're like, well, you got to make sure you're drinking throat coat before and like being like super like physically dedicated so you sound good. And then it's me here like taking like the biggest fucking dabs at rips, like chugging beers right before we're doing the show.
Right. Yep.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
So the first show that I did in Huntsville was soon after we moved down here, and it was just a showcase. So I think they gave me like 7 minutes or something like that. But the guy,
it's a weird amount of time.
The guy producing the show, very nice guy, still a friend of mine. But I took an edible like 20 minutes before I was supposed to go up. And it kicked in way earlier than I expected. And so I'm sitting there at a table with my wife, not talking to anybody, just trying to keep my shit together. And then I finally go up, and it was it hit you that way that you have no concept of time. Everything feels like it's in slow motion. It's the wrong way for that to hit.
Right.
That's how you want it to hit when you're going to watch some X-Files and go to bed.
Absolutely.
but it hit me on stage, and apparently I got through it okay. And I sat there for a few minutes more with my wife afterwards, and I'm like, okay, we have to leave now because I can't be here anymore. and then I messaged him afterwards. I said, sorry, I wasn't very talkative. I hope I did okay. I took an edible and it hit me wrong. And they were like, oh, no, you did great. They've never asked me to be on another show. So, yeah, don't think it went that great.
Well, it could be you're too good.
Yeah. Right. It was a different level than what they were expecting.
Yeah, but it's all about getting yourself in the headspace, though, because like people are like, oh, you gotta like smoke a little weed to unwind before you perform. No, don't do that. You have to smoke weed until you are terrified, and then you go.
Yeah. And you won't get on the stage.
Yeah, that's kind of been my job hunting strategy. When I go in for interviews, I'm high enough that I'm terrified, and we'll.
Yeah.
How's the pediatric surgeon thing going, by the way?
So far, so good. It was a close one yesterday.
Well.
You could, Jason. You could use Anders calipers. You could use Anders calipers because you got to measure the head. So yeah.
That's true.
It's true because then make sure you're not messing up a smart one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
That's
true.
Well,
speaking of all of that, guys, I think we should get into our first story before this becomes 3 hours of guys farting and dicking around.
Instead, it's just about an hour of people farting and dicking around. Yeah. Our the first story comes to us today from the Associated Press. This is out of Leeds, Alabama. The headline, Nude man nabbed by police after cannonball plunge into giant aquarium at Bass Pro Shop in Alabama.
I'm pretty sure that's their version of the Temple Mount.
I'm in Alabama. That's just a Tuesday in Alabama. I don't know how that even made the news.
That's right. I was wondering, especially for it to be like national.
So here's the thing. I guess I have a few questions. First, Scott, how close is Huntsville to Leeds?
I just looked it up. It's about 2 hours away.
2 hours away. All right. I just looked it up, but that sounds like a convenient cover. You're kind of already kind of laying out a narrative here. I can see.
Right.
Showing up clothed, maybe the perfect distraction, if you will.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I did not go to Leeds and jump in the water at Bass Pro Shops naked.
You had a Speedo.
It was a tan Speedo.
All right.
With a natural shag covering.
To continue, 42-year-old man. He cannonballed into the water, left the water to yell at policemen, and then got back in the water. It says that he crashed his car. He crashed his car and then went in and did this. I don't know. Eventually, he climbed out, and the police got him. He's only being charged with public lewdness, disorderly conduct, and criminal mischief, which seems pretty. I'm a little surprised that alcohol wasn't involved in
if he was drunk driving.
But
even if he wasn't,
pretty wild.
At the very least, reckless endangerment and stuff. You still crashing your car into shit.
Yeah, I have no idea. But
I'm pretty sure I have to retake the driver's written exam on Tuesday because my license expired and I didn't renew it. If I waited a year, I'd also be parallel parking again, but that's another side of things. And I'm pretty sure, I've been studying, pretty sure you're not supposed to do that.
No.
Yeah, no. And I think this guy had a mission. I think the wrecking of the automobile was just a side effect of him being
being in a hurry.
So excited about jumping into the water at Bass Pro Shops. And,
I can't imagine it's that hard to find parking in Leeds, Alabama.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. At a Bass Pro Shop, though?
That's true. A big Bass Pro Shop with a bass tank you can jump into. I've never seen that at a Bass Pro Shop. I guess I've never been to a Bass Pro Shop.
I was going to ask if either of you have experience with gone to a Bass Pro Shop, or I think there's another, Outdoor World is kind of sort of the same.
Yeah.
I've been to a Dick's Sporting Goods.
I have been in them. Yeah, they are, they're just like a huge sporting goods that,
right.
It's geared more towards fishing, but there's a lot of camping stuff and all that kind of cool stuff there. And in Alabama, on some days there's a buffet, so he may have just been going to the buffet.
Oh wow,
man, that's exciting. Yeah,
Bass Pro Shops and buffet, and then they've got hookers in the back. So it's great.
Did they serve?
And I'm sorry, let me get a pen. What day of the week did you say?
did they serve food the rest of the week?
Do they
what was that, Andrew?
Do they serve food the rest of the week, or is it only buffet day?
Buffet day is only on Tuesdays, and the hookers I think are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So it's
a little more wiggle room.
Yeah,
so to speak.
I'm glad they're not working on Shabbos.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give some advice though. Here's maybe some controversial advice. If there's any establishment, a bar, a Bass Pro Shop, whatever, that does not serve food any day but Tuesday, because there was a bar in Worcester that I used to go to that never served food other than Taco Tuesday. In both cases, you shouldn't eat there.
Yeah,
because that food is from somebody's house.
Yeah. They're
right.
Yeah, they're bringing those tacos from somewhere, and it's not somewhere anywhere near.
Yeah. No, I think I don't think I've been to a Bass Pro Shop for about 10 years, but yes, it's exactly as you described, but also there is kind of a weird museum element or quality, at least to the couple I've been to, where they have obviously enormous aquariums, but some have waterfalls, and they have taxidermied animals at the Natural History Museum, and it's just wild. I can't think of any other type of store that does something similar, that has these big sort of decorative thematic elements, you know what I mean? There's no, it's wild.
It's
I definitely get the appeal.
It's actually every single store in Alabama does that.
Oh, really?
The Piggly Wigglies, the Krogers, all of them have that. Yeah. And they, in the taxidermy thing, they've the further south you get in Alabama, you see Yankees taxidermied and put up on the wall, and it's just a word of warning. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I haven't spent enough time in Alabama, but that definitely that would be fascinating to see. I don't know, go into a Walmart late at night, and what kind of museum-ish. I guess what there's a model of a person, drinking Natty Light, and there's empty cans around them, and
there was
every Walmart in Alabama is a it's a living natural history museum.
Yeah.
There was a kid from my high school, who went to Bama for college, and he seemed to come back, based on Facebook, a real Alabama guy. And I was just thinking, anytime I saw a post, I was like, man, if you lived in the actual Confederacy, you would have been kicked in the head by a mule, even though you wouldn't have had any reason to be working in those fields right away.
That seems like a good place to change the story.
All right. Well, Scott, we're going to get you on the record here, because I know that we have one of our hosts, Jason Strong, as a maybe controversial thing to say. I know this has been a cause contention in our relationship, but is a paid CIA shill. You can see the blatant luxury that he's living in. Our audience can't, because it's an auditory medium, but very clearly. What are your thoughts on UFOs, UFOs, UAPs?
I don't know if they're real. I was just watching a Carl Sagan interview about where we sit in the universe, and it's like, okay, we're in a pretty rundown galaxy with a shitty star, and that's part of millions of galaxies, part of millions of universes, and we think we're the center of it all.
Well, that's exactly it.
That's just horseshit. You can't think that.
Did he say that? Did Carl Sagan say that's horseshit and then like flip over the table and be like,
yeah, he did.
If anyone says that's not the case, Neil deGrasse Tyson can meet me this week at Summer Science Slam.
Yeah.
It's a science throwdown. Yeah.
I'm back from the dead, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PBS pulled that episode of Nova.
Yeah.
You can only find it on YouTube and pirated.
Well,
yes, Sagan could have been in big time wrestling. He was so good at that. He was subtle, but when he flipped that table, it was real.
Oh yeah,
it was good.
Well, you know, I've been watching a lot of pro wrestling lately. Maybe there's an announcement coming soon, maybe not. Who's to say? Fans of the podcast, stay tuned. And I've got to say, I do think Carl Sagan could have been one of those wiry, fun gimmick guys. Could have really managed those face heel turns. Plus, he was a science fiction writer. Could have written some great storylines. But we're not talking about professional wrestling today. That was last week when we had the Dillon Street Boys on. Today, we're talking about a state that could never be associated with something as low class as professional wrestling, Florida. And specifically, Miami. This is an incident at a Miami shopping mall, which resulted in the arrest of 4 teenagers. Maybe, or maybe not, depending on what you think actually happened. You see, more than 60 police cars, that's a lot, swarmed the Bayside Marketplace in downtown Miami. And this is in Newsweek. This is the report that I am getting a lot of this from, is from Julia Carbonaro.
And that's a shopping mall, right?
That is.
Would you say Bayside Marketplace?
Mall. Yeah, it's a shopping mall. Thank you.
Okay.
That is more cars than have been in the parking lot of any shopping mall at one time.
I was thinking that.
Since the George W. Bush administration.
If every cop that showed up bought an Orange Julius, that would triple the profit. The mall scene in 10 years.
It was
that Orange Julius owner's like, ooh, I'm gonna eat tonight.
It was a great day to run a mall food court Dunkin' Donuts. Now, what the government would have you believe is that they were there to shut down a quote-unquote fight involving a group of teenagers throwing fireworks at each other in an open-air shopping mall. Yeah, sure thing, buddy.
Yeah, that seems pretty implausible.
It seems ridiculous to me. 60 police cars for that shit? According to the arrest reports, the juveniles were causing a riot inside the mall and causing panic. Dozens of officers were called. It was around at 8:30 p.m. This was 8 days ago. But what eyewitnesses are claiming is very different. Now, part of this just comes from, like I was saying, sheer amount of police deployed, right? Sure. 60 for some teenagers throwing fireworks at each other. 60 cars, that's let's say 2 a car, 120, right? Jason, you're in
math
grad
checks
school.
out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if there's 2 per car, but that's, a lot, yes. I accept your premise.
Are you telling me that the Miami police aren't being fuel efficient?
I'm afraid there's a very good possibility that they're not. Yes.
Yeah. We do have to allow for a couple canine units though. So
that's true.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
So we'll say 118.
Yeah.
Analysis. Analysis of the footage of the scene has led some to develop the theory that an alien creature was the real cause of the disturbance. And this is backed up by a video of an eyewitness account. Now, I'm not going to play it here because I've learned that playing videos in the podcast isn't very fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to read out some highlights, though. This was an eyewitness. He said he was there with his family going through the mall when it happened. He said that a tall creature appeared. It appeared to be glitching in and out of reality. Possibly, he said, and this is partially, I think, the result of the David Grush hearings making some of these talking points more mainstream, as a result of it not being intergalactic, but interdimensional, which theorists are actually coming to believe is more likely of UFOs. Qualified theorists like me are coming to believe it's more likely of UFOs because you know why it's more likely?
Seems as good as anything else.
Quantum physics.
Maybe, I don't fucking know. It takes a long time to get from space to Earth. So even if you're going at the speed of light, even if you somehow manage faster than the speed of light, like there is a limit to how much speed you can move at in physical space, whereas in between dimensions, who the fuck knows?
Right. You can make up anything, yeah.
Yeah, and we certainly do.
Yes.
Right.
Glitching
And really, why would an alien on purpose go to a mall in Florida?
Well,
right.
Maybe he's saying, save your shopping malls before it's too late. In my dimension,
it could be.
Yeah.
We let e-commerce take over.
If he's flipping between dimensions, though, he could be like on his planet, just at a ranch. He's doing the whole ranch theme thing, and he's getting ready to get on a space horse.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden there's a glitch, and he's in a mall, and it freaks him out as much as it freaks everybody else out. So he starts shooting lasers and stuff, and they're calling it fireworks.
Exactly. Very possible.
I think I figured this one out.
I like this very much. Yeah. Well, no, it makes total sense.
Yeah, the space horse thing, I didn't consider space horses.
Right.
But what the eyewitness account says, and we're going to post this in the show notes, is that when the police got there, they started surrounding the being with cars, still kind of glitching in and out, and immediately just start blaring up the noise, letting it know it's not welcome there. He said the reason why there's not footage is that when you're there with your family, your first instinct is to run away. And what he said is if it's a fight, you're going to want to, in his words, film it and post it on WorldStar. But this was not a fight. You're just trying to get the fuck out of there, which I find plausible.
Mm-hmm.
No, I buy that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be police body cam? Oh, listen to me. Body cam footage.
Yeah, exactly.
How naive.
Shouldn't there be police body cam footage? Shouldn't there not be a dead alien in the fucking beaches of Miami?
That's wild. I do like the theory of it it being an accident and the creature being every bit as confused and scared as everyone else around it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the alien sees the Spencer gifts and is like, WTF, guys. I need to get back on my space horsey.
Yeah, you're trying to get from place to place. Maybe you're out of interdimensional traveling energy,
right.
I've stopped off at weird places for gas before,
Yeah.
Me and my wife drove last summer 13 hours, I think, from here to Pennsylvania. So you got to stop off for gas at some places, and they're not always cool places.
Have you ever heard of Buc-ee's?
No, that's Captain America's sidekick who died and then became the Winter Soldier.
Whoa,
spoiler alert.
Sorry, guys.
Well, Buc-ee's here in the South, I think they started in Texas, are these giant mall-sized gas stations that have like 150 pumps. So I went for the first time last night. I did a show about 40 minutes away, and we went past Buc-ee's, and my wife and I went in, and it's nuts. It's like, it was like, I don't know, 11:30 at night, and there were probably 100 people in there and 50 workers. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. And they've got everything that you don't want. They've got They've got every flavor of beef jerky you could ever imagine. They make it there. They make their own beef jerky.
That's
got,
what I need.
Yeah.
I need the gas station the beef dried at the gas station.
Yeah.
The key is if you pour the old leaded gasoline over it, it dries out a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives it that distinctive tang. No,
I'll tell you, that place, if there are aliens, they invented Buc-ee's, because it was absolutely nuts. So you think of the biggest truck stops like the Loves and stuff like that. This makes Loves look like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
it's absolutely, it's monstrous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen them in my travels, but have never been in one. And as I recall, the ones I've seen are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So it's just, it's Texas. It's just flat and dark. And then there's this like beacon, this enormous like lit up beacon in the distance and it's the size of like, wow. Yeah. A shopping mall is probably, that's a good, hundreds of pumps. It's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely huge.
Yeah,
that's where the aliens should go. I mean, if they're going somewhere on purpose,
right,
they should go there.
You think they're still using gasoline for the interdimensional travel?
Oh, I think they drink it. I don't think 100%. I think they're well beyond needing it as a fuel source, and it's become like a nutrient source for them.
You think that maybe? All right, I'm hatching a fresh one right here, right now. You think maybe the real reason we invaded Iraq, it was for oil, but it wasn't actually for us to have the oil, for cars. That's what the fucking CIA shills like Jason Strong would have you believe.
Right, Yellow Cake.
Actually, it was actually, yes, timely reference, Yellow Cake. All of our, it is a good thing. It's a good thing our average listener is 29. So I think I get it. So I think the rest of us will. But. The real reason we invaded, alien Gatorade.
Yeah. We want them on our side.
Absolutely. If they're glitching out at malls and stuff. Just think of the military applications.
No mall will be safe.
No.
It'll take.
Right. And if it's a mall in China, how are they going to get those dozen Florida police officers?
It'll be a long fucking time. All right, guys. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to hear a bit from Scott, and then we are going to get into 2 more great stories. All right.
Great's kind of overselling it, but
are we ready to get back to it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, welcome back. So Scottathan Curtis.
Hi.
Host Pot Around and Find Out. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Scott Curtis, and I'm here because you asked me. Damn it.
That is true. I did ask you to be here.
Yeah. I don't remember. What was it? Reddit?
Yeah, it was on Reddit. I was one of the few non-scammers that reached out, probably, right?
Yeah. And I had a couple reach out, and then I listened to their pod, and I said no. Nah. I've been on a few that I wish I hadn't been on, and I've decided to cut that out of my life. Yeah, this one's all right. But yeah, I'm
There's the quote.
So I'm.
This one's all right. Yeah, we can put that on our.
All right.
No, this is our new social media banner. Yes.
But yeah, I guess I'm what you would call a late bloomer. So I started podcasting when I was 51. So I've been doing that for about 8 years, and I started stand-up when I was 52, and just mainly just to do stuff different as I got older, because I didn't want to be one of those guys that just gets stuck in a rut and is just mad for the rest of his life. So I did that. Really loved it. The podcasting started as a local podcast, and then I helped the company that I worked for start a corporate podcast, and then I started one called Behind the Bits after I started stand-up comedy. And that was it was a bigger hit than I expected. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot, and it did really well for about 3 years. And then and after moving and this will probably be too heavy for your show, but
Mm.
whatever, I gotta
We
say it.
get
It's
heavy sometimes.
that's good. In 2023, I'm a depressed person,
Mhm.
and in 2023, my depression just hit like a cannonball. It was
Mhm.
awful, and so I didn't do anything. I stepped away from the behind the bits, even
Mhm.
though it was actually doing well and making money, and I had sponsors and all that, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And
Sure.
I was getting a little tired of talking to comedians too, because I talked to like 150 of them, and I pretty much got everything I needed to know. So
Mhm.
I walked away and didn't do anything for a while, and then as I started, getting better, changing my meds, talking to a therapist, and doing all the stuff that I should
Super
do,
important, yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting better, and I decided that I'm going to do a podcast for me. And so Pod Around and Find Out is really going to be just me doing stuff. I'm only going to talk to people I want to talk to.
Mhm.
I'm going to do some monologues about depression, because I think talking about it's a good thing, and knowing
Absolutely.
that other people are going through it is a
Mhm.
good thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about my comedy career, because I stepped away for about 2 years, and I'm stepping back into it. And that's,
Mhm.
I don't call it a resolution, but in 2024, I plan on getting back to at least where I was in stand up,
Mhm.
and being able to go out and at least feature and do some 30-minute sets and stuff like that, and working on different material about depression and stuff like that. So yeah, that's really, I mean, my podcast, I'm gonna have old friends on that,
Mhm.
the we're friends. I interviewed a guy that worked for me at Wendy's back in the 80s, and or in the early 90s, I guess. And we we stayed friends all this time,
Mhm.
and we used to do karaoke together. And it was like the last time in my life when I was silly, because I was,
Mhm.
I think, late 20s, early 30s at that time, and I just had my first kid. And after that, after he moved, it was pretty much no more silliness for me, and
Mhm.
getting back with him was great. So that's really what it's about, and I hope that somebody listens. I put
Mhm.
out 3 episodes last week, and um Behind the Bits is still getting way more hits, even
Mhm.
though I haven't done an episode for almost a year.
Mhm.
It's still getting way more than Pot Around and Find Out, but I'm going into this one with no expectations. It's just kind of me
Mhm.
documenting the people that I want to either learn from, I have learned from, and have made a difference in my life, and then just documenting the shit that's going on in my life. So
Mhm.
it's going to be way different than what people are used to for a podcast, and way different than what
Mhm.
I'm used to doing. But I'm way more comfortable with it. I'm breaking every single rule of podcasting. I'm not putting things out on set schedule. I'm putting them out whenever I feel like it, and I'm just gonna try that, because it feels to me like all these rules that have come about for podcasting are arbitrary and bullshit, as
Mhm.
far as I'm concerned. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you guys, when you started, you got into these groups, all the podcasting groups, and all the podcast gurus are out there, and they're saying you got to
They
do
message you
this,
whether you like it or
and
not.
oh yeah, I can help you monetize your podcast in
Mhm.
2 weeks.
Right.
All that bullshit. And I really, one of the things I want to do is just pull the curtain back on that, because podcasters are getting scammed.
Mhm.
And
Totally.
I don't like that. And you guys have surpassed what most podcasters do. You got past the 7th episode.
Oh.
Statistics
Oh wow.
say that you normally don't get past 7 episodes, and then you just give
That's
up.
our
Mhm.
ironclad
So
discipline.
yeah, well, yeah, and and really the big thing is, and I've taught podcasting to folks and help people get their podcast launched, and that listeners come when you say something that you want to say and are passionate about what you do. So
Mhm.
if first of all, you've got a niche here, so you're talking about weird news,
Mhm.
and then you're bringing folks on to get their take on the weird news, and that is totally that's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be too broad.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, and that's the rule I'm breaking. I'm going to be too broad. I'm going to be talking to everybody I want to talk to and talking about myself and all that bullshit, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's really what that's about. And I just I feel like you know, podcasting in general I think it's important because I find, you know, a lot of podcasts like depression modes out there where I can listen to people talk about their depression, and you know, I find people that have, you know, parallel experiences to me, and just knowing that other people go through it, I think that stuff's important. And also the entertainment factor. So I find myself listening to shows like yours when I'm driving, because I drive a lot for work anyway, and it's usually like 2 hours one way, so you know, I can listen to several episodes. And I used to just listen to music, but I'll listen to music for, you know, 10 minutes, then I'll listen to a podcast and put some music on. And the entertainment ones when I'm driving are the ones I want to listen to. Not the heavy ones. I listen to those, you know, when I'm sedentary and not worried about the road.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's definitely a place for it. I think the market it's definitely oversaturated because all of the big stars decided to get into it. And this is where I diss Smartless. I think it's the worst podcast out there.
Well, and also like
my wife.
I feel like the problem with all these big stars getting into podcasts and why they fold is like, I'm gonna say, maybe this is a controversial take, you need to pay Prince Harry more than you need to pay me.
Yeah.
I know with Jason it's different because he's collecting a lot of that CIA money, so I do think it's a bit different.
I'm okay. I'm set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, the thing is like I mean, some of these people are great. Like Conan O'Brien's show is fantastic because
I agree.
He does, but the Smartless guys, it's like, you know, one person knows about the guests and the other two don't know anything, and the whole show. Yeah, it's Jason Bateman. I can't remember the name.
Will
of all the
Arnett
guys.
And Sean. He was on Will and Grace.
Yeah, the guy on Will and Grace.
I was not. Will and Grace was on when I was, you know, I would see promos for Will and Grace because I was waiting to watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
You're like younger than my youngest kid.
I'm 28.
Right. I'm curious what TV station. Sean Hayes, thank you.
Yeah.
Andrew, I'm curious what TV station you're watching that runs promos for Will and Grace.
Oh, I can answer that question
during Yu-Gi-Oh.
I could answer that question right away. I was watching WB11, aka Kids WB, because you would have the Kids WB block, and then there was this mini Kids WB block on right after school, and then they would run the promos for the evening programming, which included Will and Grace. Which was a controversial promo on the schoolyard because for Will and Grace, there was a woman who was singing, and she would say, Will and Grace have a party, I think is what she would sing. And this is true, and I'm sure that our listeners could find this promo on YouTube. Please send it to me, post it on our social media, comment it under the show on Facebook, whatever you got to do. It sounded like she was saying Will and Grace are, and then the R slur, like the R word, you know? And this was the early 2000s, so maybe, you know, I would have said the word on the schoolyard at the time. Don't cancel me, I was 8. Yeah, so it just became a very controversial promo.
I don't remember that at all.
I never watched the show. You didn't watch Kids WB.
I think I might have, actually.
It probably wasn't Channel 11 either, because you weren't in the New York market. No. Everything had a different promo.
No, it would not. That's true. Yeah. It would have been the Dayton, Ohio market.
Yeah, I don't think they showed Will and Grace.
It's slightly different. No. No, I don't think they did. It was 700
just like
Club
and Will and Grace.
Right. It was 700 Club and Hee Haw all the time. It's really weird.
Can you explain that right?
Which one?
Hee Haw?
I know what 700
Do you not
Club
know about Hee Haw?
I don't know what Hee Haw
700
is.
Club?
No,
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Hee Haw, it was a sort of country themed musical variety show that
Which country?
weird.
Ha ha ha! Great, best joke I've ever made.
Oh man, got me there. Oh. But it ran for some like obscene length of time. Like I want to say from the 60s through, I think it finally was canceled in the 2000s. Like it was on for
when in 2000? Can you say off the top of your head?
I can't. I'm gonna
pre or close to 9/11.
I'm looking it up. So it started in 69.
Nice.
Yeah.
And okay, Wikipedia.
What if it was on 9/11 between the two towers?
It went to 1997.
Okay.
So almost 2000.
Yeah, it was 2.
Okay. But yeah, and it was like weirdly popular, but it would have, country like kind of the old-timey country music. People would play like acoustic, and then they would just have like bits. There were people that, what I remember is there were people would like pop up in the set was like a cornfield, and they would pop up and say like a one-liner or a zinger or something, and then pop back down. It was like weirdly really popular.
Man,
it was like a laugh-in for country people.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do,
yes.
I do actually, Scott, you might not believe this. I'm a man of the people whose music tastes are the most similar to, believe it or not, Spotify
Middle
confirmed,
America.
Bozeman, Montana.
Oh.
All right.
So
you like very cold music.
I listen to a lot of Waylon and a lot of Green Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those two things, you hit that intersection.
Oh, well,
That
I'm a country
fair.
guy too. I'm outlaw country guy. I don't like the popular stuff, but Hee Haw was great. I watched it all the time as a kid. And Roy Clark was on it, and one of the best guitar players in the world ever.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And Buck Owens, one of the best songwriters. I mean, he wrote Don't Pass Me By that the Beatles recorded. And there's a lot. It's funny in musicians. The thing I've learned about musicians is yeah. Yeah, but the musicians don't really see the genres or categories as much. A lot of country people listen to punk and metal, and a lot of metal people listen to country, so they don't.
I mean, if you listen to like the early rock, it's fast country and fast blues, and then like the difference between folk and country is really who listens to it for the most part. Like I think that now, like I think there is a and I think rightfully a lot of stigma on like mainstream Nashville country because of a lot of it's like both the political and sort of the studio machine process. But I think that musicians like Waylon, like Johnny Cash, like Chris Christopherson really did blur the line, not just between country and rock, but specifically country and like 60s counterculture left wing rock music.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what makes me a man of the people in my music tastes and my
Bozeman, Montana. That's a pretty good place. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I'd be proud if
they call me the Bose Man.
Yep, was waiting for that.
Thanks. You guys can catch me doing stand-up at the Space in Urbana on Tuesday nights for 5 minutes until someone pays me to do it for longer.
And the parking lot of the Maverick gas station in Bozeman, Montana.
Well, you know what? Enough talking about other people who are here. We need to talk about other people who aren't here. Specifically, our troops. I'm sorry, can we all stand up? Stand up for a minute. I'm going to do it. Thank you, Scott. Jason?
I'm standing up.
The CIA is paying you. You better stand up. This is something that happened to our troops. Now, the report I'm reading, this has been reported in the American media, but I am reading a report from the Times of India because I like to get the global perspective in here.
Absolutely.
Unlike Jason, who's refusing to support the troops to solidify his place as a plant of the CIA in a truth-telling movement that is this podcast.
Right.
I present myself as someone who's looking for all sides of things. All sides of things.
That.
Sorry, I swallowed too much saliva because I was speaking too passionately on the subject.
As one does.
Now, this happened over a U.S. military base in Iraq. Scott, this is actually why I brought you here. Can you explain the history of the U.S. military presence in Iraq real quick?
Yeah, so for a long time we weren't there, and then we went there, and we've been there ever since.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Just for our audience, just so you know, we went into Iraq because Saddam personally did 9/11. He actually flew the first jet in, jumped out, parachuted into the second jet, hijacked it, flew that one in, parachuted out into a bus, got back to got back to a different airport, and flew back to Iraq before anyone noticed. Not a lot of people know this.
Yeah.
So we invaded Iraq. We toppled him. We took down his statue, and then terrorism never happened again.
Right.
And
Problem
George W.
solved.
Bush also became the best artist besides me on this podcast.
And let's not gloss over the Saddam Hussein took public transportation, and let's do a shout out for public transportation.
Exactly. Let's do a shout out.
Absolutely.
Scott knows, used to live in South Bend, Indiana, the home of the greatest transportation secretary ever to grace this country.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Go Pete.
Yeah.
Go Pete.
But and here's the other thing. He had the interdimensionals on his side, maybe. There's footage, find it in the show notes, of a UAP, also known as a UFO. By the way, Scott, the difference between UAP and UFO. UFO, unidentified flying object, old term. UAP, you might think it stands for unidentified aerial phenomenon. It used to, now it doesn't. Now it's unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Do you actually know that it's aerial, or is it a reflection? Do you actually know that it's an object? Is interdimensional visual residue an object?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Wow.
Take some more edibles before being on this show next time, and we'll talk about it some more. So this footage was originally obtained by UFO enthusiast Jeremy Corbell, describing this article as a seasoned UFO reporter. This again, Times of India. It shows a jellyfish-like object moving steadily in one direction over a U.S. military base. The base in question is, I can't find the name of it right now, but that doesn't change the solidity of what I'm saying. So, it is of unknown origin, and he said it is displaying transmedium capability. The origin, intent, and capability of the anomalous aerial vehicle remains unknown. This was tweeted by Corbell. The UAP has demonstrated an ability to maintain positive lift without conventional aerodynamic methods for lift and thrust. Jason, can you explain conventional aerodynamic methods for lift and thrust real quick?
Yeah, propellers or a jet engine.
Exactly. Didn't have that shit. And it lacked the usual signatures of propulsion maneuvers. No propeller, no jet engine, no fuel trail, no guy yelling "wee," no wings, none of that shit. The video reveals the Jellyfish UFO exhibiting rapid color changes from white to black, which signifies, because it's infrared, or not infrared, but like the black and white version of infrared, infra white and black, or whatever the fuck, swift temperature shifts.
Yeah, and you had said it's transmedium. What are the what are those mediums that it trans? So we've got air so far.
Air, maybe dimensions.
Maybe dimensions, sure.
The water, possibly. The thing is, you have to consider, it's not as bad as a trans-large, right? But it's way, way worse than a trans-small.
You son of a bitch, I'm out.
Man, it took me a second.
This is just the type of clever writing.
I had that all queued up. I'm not saying another damn word.
Oh, trans large.
The thing is, the joke that the most people thought of at the same time, Scott knows, he does stand up. The joke that most people thought of at the same time, always the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, water too. Because according to Corbell,
Okay.
Jason, CIA shill, fucking trying to discredit me with your traps. You can't get past me.
No.
It submerged into a lake, remained underwater for 17 minutes. We could play all 17 minutes of it being underwater on the podcast. You think it would go over well?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I think people will love it.
Yeah.
Especially now that the YouTube is also only audio. Before re-emerging and ascending at a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
They're calling this the Jellyfish UFO. You guys know why?
Because it looked like a jellyfish?
That is correct, Scott. That's correct. It's not unlike Jason saying, because jellyfish also aren't real. Because
that was my
yeah.
That was my perspective on it.
Exactly. Just trying to take whatever ridiculous explanation. No, yes, it did. It had legs, but unlike a jellyfish, they weren't doing one of these. If you're not, there's no visual version of this. So picture a jellyfish leg motion.
Right. It sort of expands and then collapses so that it produces thrust.
Exactly.
Right, in the water,
but
and
that would be a conventional method of lift and thrust. They are rigid and motionless.
Okay.
Much like
so, like the tendrils.
The tendrils, yes, are rigid and motionless, much like Jason Strong's tendril on a Sunday morning when he wakes up.
Oh man, boy, got me again.
Zing, zing, zing. We are only gold material today.
Oh, this tendril humor.
Yeah. In another report, he exposed a different image of a UAP called the Chandelier UAP, which probably does something similar, but we're not talking about that one.
Okay.
There's no official statement from the Pentagon. The unique characteristics of this UAP, including its shape, its behavior, make it one of the most bizarre sightings to date. Now, I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. My biggest anxiety is not interdimensional, and it's not from space. My biggest anxiety is that they're actually USOs, meaning that they're actually an advanced species living underwater that we don't know anything about yet, because they've evolved parallel to us. Because those are the ones that would have reason to be aggressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of pollution, man.
Because all the shit we throw in the ocean.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, this podcast has always been all about the environment. So I'm just going to say right now, I'm putting out a call to action. If you're about to dump some waste in the ocean, stop it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Dump it somewhere else.
I think we're all in agreement.
Woods are fine.
Yeah, dump it in a river.
Exactly.
Right. That would be
because those only go so deep. We know what's at the bottom.
It would
of the
be
river.
fine.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
You heard it here first from Scott Curtis. Dump your toxic waste in the river.
Right.
Ocean is for dead bodies because that's like a gift to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no statement from the Pentagon on this one. You guys, once again, if you're curious about that footage, check the show notes. It's hyperlinked. Yeah,
that is interesting though. So the past couple years we've been getting reports that are sort of different shapes than we have in the past, right?
There are a few different shapes. We got the Tic Tac. The Tic Tac's kind of a classic shape. The jellyfish is new. It is definitely a new development. But again, I mean, if this is an interdimensional thing and there are multiple different dimensions that different things are traveling from and between, it makes sense that there's multiple different things that people are seeing. Yeah. No, it's interesting. And all the fucking skeptic explanations I've seen for this one, honestly. And this is like, behind the, all the fucking skeptic explanations I've seen have been like, this is a the smudge or balloon shit that people will often do. Where they'll be like, this was a smudge or this was a balloon. And I just think that, you need to somewhat accept that people aren't that dumb and know what a smudge or a balloon is. You ever seen a balloon do that?
I'd like to I'd just like to say that my son works for NASA, and he won't tell me anything about UFOs or USOs or UAFs or whatever the fuck they are. He won't tell me anything. And basically I'm thinking about just disowning him because I'm sick of it.
Right.
You know, he tells me what he does, and I don't understand it. I'm just like, just tell me where the UFOs are.
He says, I am a janitor in the office here.
No,
I think he cleans the dry erase boards. I think that's his thing.
So he doesn't take a picture of when they just write aliens are real on it.
Yeah. He doesn't. He
so far no.
He quietly finishes the calculations.
Yeah. Well, Scott,
on the whiteboard at night.
Scott, let's all hope right now, for the best case scenario, which is that what was said here today gets your son fired by association with you, and then he holds a grudge with NASA and comes on this podcast and gives the deets.
Right, spills it all.
Right here, right now on UNT.
No,
share the show.
I met a guy. I met a guy through a friend of a friend, who works for the Space Force, and he does threat monitoring. I can't remember the exact technical word, but same thing. Like he wouldn't
monitoring for the Space Force that you wake up every morning, you open your thing, and you just type, "Is Space Hitler real yet?"
No, exactly. Yeah,
is the Fourth Reich coming? Just ask. Just tell me, please.
The Nazis on the moon.
Man.
No, he definitely intimated that we should be more concerned than we are, but would not go into
I think the big
details
thing,
honestly, for security purposes.
Honestly, I think the big thing is going to be, before we even talk about aliens, it's going to be fucking Kessler syndrome. Too many fucking satellites up there, especially with SpaceX's Starlink. Shit's gonna start flying into each other. We're gonna have an impenetrable barrier. We're not gonna need to worry about aliens. I mean, I guess if they're coming from interdimensional, it doesn't fucking matter about out there. But that is gonna be far more of a concern, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You heard it from me, astrophysicist Andrew Michaels.
No, at this point, it really does make me angry that we continue to put shit up in space without a plan to get it back down or get rid of it. Like we're just throwing our trash into space.
Exactly. That's why we're gonna piss off the aliens. That's how you piss them off.
Right.
Have a fucking nice view of Pluto and shit. Once you fuck up their commute, they're gonna be pissed at us.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is coming out of left field, but
on this show,
Jim Gaffigan is in a movie called Linoleum, and if you haven't watched it, it's a independent film, but his dad was I think an astronaut or something like that, and he has a science show on TV, and a spacecraft, a U.S. spacecraft, crashes in his backyard, and he tries to get it back up and so that he can fly the moon or whatever. And one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So
really,
it's Linoleum.
Okay.
Jim Gaffigan. It's weird. It's wacky. Jim is a great actor. In this, he plays two different roles. Just, I think, I don't know why it was swept under the rug. I think it's on Hulu or something like that. But it's got the science fiction element to it, but it's got a lot of other elements too. Fantastic movie. So cool. If you haven't watched it, folks, go out there and watch it, and then you can email the guys and thank me through them for
and more importantly,
turning you on.
More importantly, we've got the movie rec on the show, and you know what that means. Gaffigan, pay up.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, you want to land this smooth fucking show?
Yep. So last week I had floated the idea that we might be in the midst of a animal uprising. That we've seen a lot of stories come out about animals sinking boats, blocking traffic, stopping trains, And this story, maybe along the same lines, this comes to us from WDBO, Orlando's News and Talk.
My elementary school was DBO, Dennis B. O'Brien.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy
I was going to say.
Maybe he fucking owned slaves, I don't know.
Hard to say.
He was a loan shark in Champaign.
This was in New Jersey, so he was almost certainly a loan shark.
So he was just really famous.
Yeah.
That's how good a loan shark he was.
You
heard about him.
The local loan shark.
He got schools named after him in New Jersey.
That explains why we had a big display of all the kneecaps that built the rec room.
Right. All the different tools for breaking kneecaps throughout the ages. So it starts with just a stick, and then you get progressively more sophisticated.
Yeah, it just gets to different types of baseball bat for a while.
Yeah, lead pipe. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when you did fundraisers, it was always to raise the VIG. You know,
Exactly.
You're just trying to keep ahead of the VIG.
Right. Yeah. What was I saying? Okay. Anyway,
Animal Rebellion. This is from WDBO.
And Orlando's News and Talk. Headline: Dog escapes kennel, frees his friends, throws a party until cops show up.
Oh man.
Though WDBO, as mentioned, Orlando's News and Talk, apparently this happened in Arizona. Dog broke out of his kennel after hours at the pet rescue. Now, the article says he tried to free his friends but failed. So here we already have a question.
Clickbaity fucking headline. This is why you can trust us, though, folks, is we go past the headlines.
Right.
We read the article, too.
Yeah. Sometimes all the way through. I guess what came to my mind seeing this discrepancy, again, giving my hypothesis that there's an animal uprising, is this is sort of disinfo to maybe keep us confused. So there's the contradiction. Certainly it's not a clickbait. It's not something to entice you to read the rest of the article. It's obviously something more nefarious.
It's a cover-up. Jason knows all about those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alarm went off, which summoned the police. The police get there. We're able to return the dog to his crate, or his kennel, excuse me. But in the meantime, after failing the dog, named King, King, after escaping, tried to free his friends, was foiled by a combination of human technology and his innate lack of thumbs.
That'll do it.
And so he instead raided the kitchen and had himself a little feast. So
that's not really, because when I fail at something and then raid the kitchen, it's not a party. That's what I don't call it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know, but you do sort of
more of a buffet.
Yeah.
Go back to the buffet.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely one to sort of eat my feelings. Exactly. So if I'm feeling frustrated, I'll.
But the thing is, I don't call it a party though, right? When I'm fucking shoving fucking my fried salmon skin snack into my face to feel something. Party.
No, I've definitely, through a haze of tears, blubbered that this is fun. I'm having a fun party, and just eating cake frosting by the handfuls. But yeah, so here's another instance. Again, this dog, another instance of an animal rebelling against human society. This dog, doesn't want to be part of our prison industrial complex.
I can't blame him.
Did what he could to dismantle it.
The thing is, because he also knows that's not a euthanizable offense. That's the crazy thing, especially now there's media coverage, right? Like, he didn't bite anyone. He didn't bite a person. Didn't bite another dog.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, so we don't have any reports of a bite in the escape attempt.
He did cook meth, though. It does say.
Okay, well, you can't euthanize a dog for cooking meth.
He did. Yeah, he got in the supply closet and made a batch
If you
of
could
meth.
euthanize a dog for cooking meth, my dog would have been in a lot of trouble by now.
Yeah,
but Lentil stays strong.
If you can teach a dog to cook meth, I'll get a dog.
I think you could teach a dog to cook meth. I think if you had a human work the burners, you could teach a dog to cook meth. I think you'd need a human to work the burners. But you could even have the dog tell the people when to do the burners and what time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like a little bark or something.
My dog could cook meth. He shouldn't. I'm against it, but he could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can we get to the quality that Walter White put out, though?
The thing is, here's what's weird about it. I'm not a meth expert. If you do meth, Underworld News Tonight.
Right, let us know.
You know how, like, all right. You know how, like, with weed, like, purple weed oftentimes is not actually better. It was just watered with Kool-Aid or whatever. I don't understand how your drugs being a weird color is a good thing. So, once again, underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Let us know. Jason's already agreed to try your meth. Hit him up in Colorado.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please give me your meth. No,
he's already got all the weed. He's already got all the weed.
Yeah, I'm covered.
I'm
good there.
I'll try it out. I want to get good for swimsuit season.
Well, I think if a dog cooks meth, the meth doesn't even have to be that good. They can just sort of sell it on the fact that, the novelty that it was made by a dog.
The thing is, you could probably just, I don't mean to be offensive, but you could probably just tell a person who's buying meth, if they're buying meth off the street, you could probably just tell them that, and they'll believe you or not, but, like, they still want the meth. I don't think you need, like, a novelty factor.
I think I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
we don't need to put a lot of marketing thought into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just having the dog hair and the baggies, that's your marketing. This is the good stuff. It was made by dogs.
Exactly.
Not touched by human hands.
Never, except for when we bagged it, because we needed to close the bag. So we did. That was done by human hands.
Yeah.
Well, you could probably train a rat to do that.
The key is though, you have to have, like, a fat dog do meth so that it's very clear on the marketing that the dog isn't, like, make the meth. I mean, so the dog isn't doing the meth. Like, it has to be clear the dog doesn't do meth. Like, because my dog, I have, like, a kind of wiry dog a little bit. I mean, he's kind of chunky, but he's got a kind of wiry build. So I think people would assume that he's doing the meth. You got to make it clear your dog's not getting high off its own supply. Pug, bulldog, something like that.
Yeah, pug, right. Kind of a rotund.
Yeah, they're not taking some off the top. So
but once again,
that's important.
Do you make meth? Do you do meth? Have you done meth made by a dog? Has your dog made meth? underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Let us know. Thank you so much for listening. Scott, where can people find Pod Around and Find Out?
So I've got all my socials are Pod Around, Find Out, and my socials are pretty much Facebook and Instagram. Oh, I'm on that TikTok thing too. And I don't put much effort into it, but I'm there too. And the website is Pod Around, Find Out, and that'll take you everywhere you want to go, and you can listen to the episodes and stuff like that there.
Cool.
I'll probably be blogging and doing all that kind of shit.
And we're going to go ahead and link to that website in the show notes. You could, of course, follow us as Underworld News Tonight, Facebook, Instagram. We're also on TikTok and don't put that much effort into that one. YouTube, where you can find our short clips as well. Jason, are you on Instagram? Do you want to talk about your Instagram? Or do you not want to talk about your Instagram today? Sometimes you talk about your Instagram and sometimes you say no.
No, I haven't in a while. I am, since, as we've talked about, Andrew's, you're going back into stand-up. I am considering going back into artwork, and I use my Instagram to showcase my work. But you'll have to edit this out because I don't remember the name of my.
I remember the name of his Instagram. I think.
What is it?
It is. Well, there's two. Is it? You have two Instagrams. I don't know which one's the private Instagram and which one's not. I guess I'll bleep it out or just cut it out if it's not. Not a CIA agent. Is that? your fake Instagram?
That's a fake one.
Okay, so not that one. Jason V Strong.
That's me.
Yep, Jason V Strong. Don't follow the other one that I have edited out, probably. And if I haven't, Jason will let me know when random people start following him or don't, because they don't listen this far. You can also find me on Instagram, Andrew Michaels 95 or 1995. Let me actually check my own fucking Instagram name right now. We had such a good episode, and we never
so prepared.
Andrew Michaels 95. Andrew Michaels 90. I remembered our own fucking show's Instagram.
No, that's the important
one. If we're gonna not stick a part of the show, it should be the part that nobody listens to.
Right.
Anyway, guys, this is our second show recorded in 2024. You guys just gotta remember, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, all that shit. It's the fucking past.
Mm-hmm.
All phantom time, but right now.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a year. This is a year all three of us are going to make it.
At the same time.
We're going to get a TV show.
Wow.
And we're all going to get crash and burn and get canceled also at the same time. And then be back to this show.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I really like on what culture's doing is so we've got the body positivity going on now. That everybody's beautiful.
Yeah.
All sizes, all shapes, you're all beautiful. And I think in 2024 we're going to go for face positivity. And that means you don't have to have the symmetry. The symmetry doesn't have to be there. And that's going to be where I shine, because ain't no symmetry here.
I think
I got one nostril bigger than the other. My eye closes all the time. One earlobe's bigger than the other. So this is where I'm going to be beautiful in 2024. I'm going to be beautiful.
I
think you're plenty beautiful now.
You've heard it here first, though.
Well, see, it's already starting.
You guys have heard it here first, folks. This is the year of sexy Scott Curtis.
There you go.
Well, thank you,
baby.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks. I had fun.